Hi, Cultivating Literacy families. Today I'm going to be talking to you about a comprehension skill called point of view. Comprehension is the process of understanding what is being read. It is important that as your child is growing as a reader, that you are also helping them check in to make sure they are understanding what they are reading or what is being read to them. We want to build a strong foundation in comprehension as well as other important things like phonics. So today we'll be talking about the comprehension skill point of view. Point of view is when you are looking at who is telling the story and how they feel. That's a very basic introduction to point of view, and as your child grows older, point of view will become a little more complex. But right now we're just going to start with identifying who is telling the story and how that individual is feeling. I'm going to be using the story Gracias, Thanks as an example. Looking at the story and figuring out who is telling the story and how that individual is feeling is important because it helps your child further connect with what's happening in the story. You can use things like the illustrations and the text to help your child identify who is telling the story and how they feel. Let's take a look at the story now. Let's look at the front cover. You might ask the child, who do you think this story is going to be about? Let's look at the front cover. As you hold up the front cover, ask them questions like, what do they see? What do they notice? And then take a peek inside. Upon looking inside, you'll notice the same character. If you continue to flip through, you'll notice the same character and members in his family. You might ask the child, who are we seeing over and over again? And they might say that they're seeing a little boy over and over again. That would be a clue as to who is telling the story. As you look through the story together, as you're reading, you can point out the words that you see. In this story, we see pronouns like me and my, where the little boy is referring to himself. For the ladybug that landed on my finger, a little red flying surprise, thanks. He's referring to his hand, so he is speaking here. For the foamy waves that chase my sister and me, and sometimes dash us with a fast splash, thanks. So he's referring to the sister as his sister, and he is talking about himself and using the word me. You can point that language out to your child as you're working to identify who is telling the story. It is a little boy telling the story. He's using words like me and my. You can then ask your child as you're reading together, how does the little boy feel? And what is he talking about in this story? Throughout the story, as you may have just noticed, he's giving thanks for different things. In the beginning, what I just read was he was giving thanks for ladybugs and for waves. That continues throughout this very sweet story. You can continue to point out the things that the little boy is thankful for and identify together that the little boy seems to be happy and thankful for these different things. You can even point out his expression on the front cover. Identifying who is telling the story and how that character is feeling is helpful in helping your child better understand what they are reading and what is being read to them. This skill takes time and practice. Some stories might be easier to identify who's telling the story, and some might not be. There may be times where you might need to really teach your child and help them understand who's telling the story. In this case, it's a little boy, but in some stories it might be an animal, or it might be a narrator that you never meet. These skills take time and guidance. So if your child needs extra guidance, that's okay. That's a part of the learning experience. I hope this strategy was helpful using the illustrations in the text to find the character's point of view. Thanks so much for watching.